Okay, I'm back. We in 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 1 again. It say, "Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant," meaning not knowing, being in darkness, which is ignorance, not knowing, how that all our fathers, that's our forefathers, were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. That cloud was a chariot. And the Mashiach Shai was leading us as the angel of the Most High, the Spirit of the Most High, in a cloud by day, and a chariot of fire by night. And when he stopped, we stopped under the orders of the Most High. And we all passed through the Red Sea. And we're all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And did all eat the same spiritual meat. We all had the same lesson that you can read about in the books of Moses, first 5 books of Moses, Exodus, starting with Exodus. That's what it's talking about. And did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Mashiach. But you got to be spiritual to understand him. In the volume of the book is written of him, to do the will of the Most High, as the angel of the Most High, as the Spirit of the Most High, the top angel at that. But with many of them, the Most High, when Mashiach Shai was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness, killed everybody, with Joshua and Caleb as the adults, and allow the children that we had in those 40 years of wandering in the wilderness to go into the land of Canaan, promised land. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things. See? But you got to understand what's evil and what is good. But see, most people don't know what's evil from good because you ain't studied the laws of the Most High. You ain't studied this Bible enough to know that all these situations that's in life is right here in the Bible, point blank. And these things are examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. And start what? Dealing with idolatry. Made a calf. See, this who brought us out of Egypt. Most I did 10 plagues on the Egyptian. And you're going to say this is who did this? A dang on calf that Aaron made from the earrings of the sons and the daughters and the men and women? Come on now. Just what we did. That's why I say when you look at the Most High and think of the Most High, how you think he feel? Look how offensive that is. He did all those plagues to get him a name. He hardened Pharaoh's heart like he gonna do in this time. On this time, his name gonna last forever and ever and ever. And in the end, he gonna be all in all. Understand, overstand this. So, this is what we looking at. It says, now these things, verse 6, were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written. The people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Eat and drink in front of this calf, rose up to play and deal with idolatry and saying this is the Most High. This who brought us out of Egypt. Come on now. How offensive can that be? I mean, you can't say you love the Most High and look at all the things that we done to him. Why you say in your affliction you're going to seek me early? Neither be idolaters as some of them were, in worshiping a cow, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, spiritual fornication, as some of them committed and fell in one day 20 and 3,000. You think he ain't gonna do the same thing? You think that him getting a name that's gonna last forever, as it is written here? I already talked to you pastors. You pork-chop-eating preachers, you ministers, you pastors, so-called pastors, because you ain't the pastor of the Most High, because you ain't bringing the understanding of this Bible. Or you be telling the truth, which is the laws of the Most High, and telling people you was in error and telling them that they not under the law. Everybody gonna have to bow down to the Most High. Everybody have to bow down to a Mashiach Yahushua as he bring forth his law. He gonna rule the, look, he gonna rule the people with a rod of iron. What you tell the rod of iron is? Look, Revelation 19 and 15, and out of his mouth, this out of Mashiach Yahushua mouth, when he come to judge and make war, go up a sharp sword. A sharp sword. That what are you gonna do with this sword? That with this sharp sword that's coming out of his mouth, he should smite, that means kill the nations. And he shall rule them, all those remnants that's left for the nations, with a rod of iron. What you think that rod of iron is? The law of the Most High. And he treaded the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Understand, overstand this. What you gonna do when he come for you? And you saying you ain't got to deal with it, what he's saying, what he done told us to do. He done took the time to write these laws with his finger. The work of the Most High. And all your religions ain't dealing with it at all. Got the people witchcraft, sorcerized. If that's a word. I mean, you're dealing with multitude of sorceries. You know, somebody walked in the church and all these people was around in a pentagram circle with candles and stuff, praying for these pork chop eating preachers that they can continue to keep their money and so forth. I seen T.D. Jakes on TV when the pandemic come in. Oh, we're losing our money. That's why they're concerned about money, 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 money. Sow a seed. Come on, man. Sow a seed to the people to show them that they are the children of Israel. Tell them the truth. You go wherever you go, and there's Most High talking to us, the children of Israel. Point blank. He got something for you. You want to be a Gentile? Okay, we're going to keep on reading. He got something for you. You hear the Most High say he killed 23,000 in one day. Neither let us tempt the Mashiach, who y'all call Jesus Christ, as some of them also tempt. We in the wilderness, y'all. He said, neither let us tempt the Mashiach. We're in the wilderness. As some of them also tempted. That's why he said, hey, those my enemies that would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. He already killed all them people. All of us in the wilderness. All of them died. Except for Joshua and Caleb. Y'all better hear what he's saying. Last I read, John said the Most High can raise up some stones to be his people. We all come from Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives. Understand there's 6 people. Noah and his wife had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And we come from Shem. You either come from Shem, you either come from Japheth, or you either come from Ham. Everybody on this earth. From 6 people. So don't tell me that the Most High need a whole lot of people to create whatever he's going to create for the kingdom. But humble yourself. Neither let us tempt the Mashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. Yeah, serpents, poisonous snakes, killers. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. That's why you can say, hey, bring them here and slay them before me. While he's coming to judge and make war, and out of his mouth gonna come a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations. Because this ain't nothing new for him. But understand, overstand. This ain't nothing new for him. You hear what he just said? 23,000 he killed. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, in samples. And they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Can't be no clearer than to us. We the ones that the ends of the earth done came to. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. You think you standing, you better take heed lest you fall. Understand, overstand this, y'all. Deuteronomy 32 and 15. Deuteronomy 32, 15. Go back to the law. Deuteronomy 32 and 15. But Jezreel waxed fat. That's another name for we the Israelites. And kicked. All 12 tribes is here. Thou art waxing fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook the Most High power, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. Lightly esteemed of Mashiach Yahushua. The rock, like you say, that rock that followed us was a Mashiach. Lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, like y'all doing right now with these strange religions. that's set up all over the world. With abomination provoked they him to anger. You can eat whatever you want to eat. All you got to do is pray over it. Most I say he's going to kill you for eating the abomination. He give you the dietary law in Luke the 11th chapter, y'all. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, strange idols. With abomination provoked they him to anger. When you do what's wrong, you provoke the Most High to anger. They sacrifice unto devils, right? And not to the Most High. Listen, to gods or religions whom they knew not. You mean to tell me, we in Deuteronomy, Moses knew about the Catholic Church. Moses knew about the Baptist Church, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, Church of God in Christ all your life. Apostolic. Acts 2:38 existed right here. We in the wilderness. These doctrines of these religions, these denominations, like I told you earlier, is demon in nations. But y'all wouldn't do the research to find out. Newly gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful. Because you ain't going to this Bible to see Mashiach Yahushua right here. Y'all just think he came in the flesh. He came and died for your sins, and you a Gentile. And clearly he said he died. What, Matthew 1:21, he said, hey, and she who was married his mother shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. Sin is the transgression of the law. Who's the law given to? The 12 tribes of Israel only. It says, of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten the Most High that formed thee. So how you going to remember the Most High? How you going to think that he loved you or you love him and you're not doing what he say do, his rules and regulations? And when the Most High saw it, when he saw that you were unmindful of his only begotten son, who y'all claim y'all believe in him now, but you denied him here, and unmindful of him being in the volume of the book, he told you that in Hebrews 10:7. Psalm 40:7, he tell you he come in the volume of the books, do the will of the Most High. Here he is doing the will of the Most High. But you don't see him. You're unmindful. And has forgotten the Most High that formed thee. And when the Most High saw this, when he saw it, he abhorred them. He hated us. Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. Putting them in the fire. To Molech and so forth. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. Captivity after captivity after captivity. See, we've been amongst all these different nations, and all the gods of the nations are idols. Psalms 96:5. So we've been amongst all these different nations. So what you think we pick up just like it is now? That's why it's so hard for our people to realize that this is really the truth. Or they would open up this Bible and challenge us for what it is that we're bringing forth. Scripture after scripture. With understanding. See, they can't do certain things. They can't bring the unadulterated truth. Because they'll lose what it is that they didn't gain. This is their consolation right now. That's why I started off, the Spirit of the Most High had me going through Malachi, the 2nd chapter, to these poach-up-eating preachers. Y'all better hear. Y'all better change. You better be reborn. You got to be born again with your knowledge and understanding of what you're supposed to be bringing out as you hear it, or make it mean something different. You mean he's talking to who? Right here. When he say, and he said, I will hide my face from them. Who to them? You as a Gentile? He said, I'm going to hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. He's talking to his chosen people, the 12 tribes of Israel. He said, I'm going to see what your end going to be. I'm going to hide my face from you. See what your end was. You see what he did to us? Killed 23,000 in one day. poisonous snakes to eat us up and kill us. I will see what their end shall be. But they are a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith. But you got faith in man, but you ain't got no faith in the Most High. Because he the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob's name was changed to Israel, who became the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. That's the Most High's name. He said, that's my name forever and a memorial to all generations, including this generation. They have moved me to jealousy, he said, with that which is not the Most High, these different religions. Y'all better hear what I'm saying. That which is not the Most High. Y'all not dealing with the Most High. Not in this Bible. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. That's why Ecclesiasticus 3:24, it says, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion, that's the devil, have overturned their judgment. Make you make the wrong judgment. Whether it's from the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you act. You allow the devil to come in to allow you to make the wrong judgment with the wrong thinking. That's why you got to know these scriptures. You got to know what the Most High said. Thus say the Most High. And you can go on the right path, the right way. Or you're going to be going down the wrong path to destruction. He said, I'm going to melt you. That's what he started with. Don't forget that. He said, hey, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not the Most High. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. You know what he said? He's going to move us to jealousy with those which are not a people. Now, what people is the Most High said is not a people? Because we're people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Look, we're people. Go to Psalm 148:14. Let's prove that right quick. You're not talking about us. He said He gonna make us jealous with no people. Look, Psalm 148:14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints. Let's prove who the saints are, even of the children of Israel. Who are we? A people. See, we're people. Who? The children of Israel. A people. Near unto him. Praise ye the Most High. But you say you're going to provoke us to jealousy with those which are not a people. Deuteronomy 32:21. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Hear that? You're going to provoke us to anger with a foolish nation. Say, for a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell. Yeah, he said he's going to melt you. You hear what he said? He's a consuming fire. And shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. Say, I will heap mischief upon them. I will send mine arrows upon them. Talk about us, the children of Israel. They shall be burnt with hunger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. Poison of snakes, man. That's what he did to us. Behind what we did to him. Why he said, I'm going to hide my face from you and see what our end will be. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin. The suckling, that's little children, that's little babies. Also with the man of gray hairs and the old men. I said, I will scatter them in the corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. And that's what he did. He used these other nations to make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. That's what he did. And how did he do it? Who he used to do it? You hear what he said? He said, I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Right? How did he do it? Psalm 83. Go to Psalm 83:1. He warned us of this. All these things is warnings. How did he do it? Psalms 83:1. Keep not thy silent, O Most High. King David said, hey, hold not thy peace, O Most High, and be not still, O Most High. Below thine enemies. So the Most High got enemies and make a turmoil, an uproar, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. That's in pride. He already told you about those that are pride. Foe, gonna be burnt as in an oven. He said, I'm gonna melt you. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Remember, no such thing gonna take the remembrance of us out of remembrance for breaking his laws, statutes, commandments, that the name of Israel, we as the Israelites, may be no more in remembrance. What the Most High says he gonna do, he does it. That's how he uses it. These nations to take the name of Israel, we being the Israelites, may be no more in remembrance. That we can remember that we are the chosen people of the Most High. This book is talking about us. We the Israelites, 12 tribes of Israel. He told us he's going to do this. But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Confederate against the Most High. Who? The tabernacles of Edom, so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites, Arabs, and the Moab, Chinese, and the Hagarenes, Africans, Gebal, Moabicans, and Ammon, and Amalek, so-called Jewish people. Ammon is the Japanese, and Amalek, so-called Jewish people. Edomites, Philistines, Moabicans with the inhabitants of Tyre, Moabicans, Ashur, Assyrians are with them, also is joined with them. See? He said he's going to do it, he did it. He used them to do it. Look at, back to 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians 10. I quoted it. Let's look what it says. First Corinthians 10 and verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, since y'all say y'all Gentiles, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. What they worship is devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. But a lot of y'all stiff y'all chests out when y'all got these devils amongst you. You fellowship with devils. You cannot drink the cup of the Most High and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Most High's table. What you do at the table, you eat this word. You can't sit at the Most High's table and of the table of devils. You see? Can't do that. But some of you are thinking that you can do whatever you want to do. And you telling the people that, hey, what you think gonna happen to you when you meet the Judge Peter of Mashiach Yahushua? What you think gonna happen? You better understand. You better understand what it is that is secretly or mysteriously written in this Bible for us to know. Because I know a lot of you don't understand a lot of what's coming out because you're so programmed and your mind has been polluted by the ways of this world that when you hear the truth, you account it to be evil because it's contrary to all your religions. This is what it says to everyone. In 2 Corinthians 10. Y'all like to go to Paul? Paul said in verse 12. Let's look at verse 4. Let's work verse 3. 2 Corinthians 10 and 3, it says, for though we walk in the flesh, we in these mortal fleshly bodies, we do not war after the flesh. We ain't warring after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. See, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Like a lot of y'all dealing with the flesh. When you talk about the spirit, just mean you got to be able to go into this Bible or whatever you're dealing with and bring forth what it is that you feel or you dealing with, your lustful dealings that you're dealing with on that pride that you're rolling with, to make it make sense in this Bible. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We ain't dealing with this flesh, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds, these demons in high places, casting down imaginations. Hear that? Casting down imaginations. This witchcraft, this sorceries, or may I say multitude of witchcrafts, a multitude of sorceries that got our people brain polluted and not being able to look at life once this book is closed and relate it to what it is that you learn from the scriptures, and be in denial of what's right, calling it evil. That's why he said, casting down imaginations, what people think, because what you think is what you're going to say. And when you say certain things, it better coincide with thus say the Most High's word, or you're dealing with evil. That's why we got to cast down imagination and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High. Where we get the knowledge of the Most High from? Genesis all the way to Revelation. Everything in between. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach Yahushua, who is the word of the Most High. The Most High have a voice, and the word of the Most High, he's bringing it. Understand, overstand this. And having in a readiness to a revenge all disobedience. See, a lot of people don't, when you carnal minded, you can't even understand this. Why you being checked? What it say? And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. When you operate in the right spirit, you can revenge all disobedience. Those that go against what this word is talking about. How you think we all that are teachers as Hebrew Israelites learn what we learn? Because somebody revenged our disobedience to show us how to be obedient. Even to this day. And having a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. When you study, you know all this, it's like year in and year out, and year in and year out, every day. It's like now your book is closed now, so you talk to people, it's like you on their page. They put you on there wherever they at. Come on now. When your obedience is fulfilled, only way your obedience is fulfilled is you can go into the scriptures and make everything that you see pretty much coincide with thus say the Most. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Thus say the Most High word. And having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is Mashiach, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Mashiach, that's masculine plural, Hebrew, which is Christ, I'm saying Mashiach, Yam is masculine plural, that's the plural for Christ or anointeds or messiahs, even so are we Mashiach. See? Paul has put himself with the brothers and sisters that's living in the land of Corinth, call themselves Corinthians. Because he wasn't rolling with the apostles. So he always was with the people that he was teaching. Like we with you that don't know the truth, that's especially under some pork chop eating preacher that's not dealing with this truth, this Bible that's what it's talking about. Because this book of Corinthians, Thessalonians, you name it, Philippians, all of them is talking to the children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel that's scattered in those lands. We say going to scatter us among all these nations. And we're going to serve wood and stone. That's why you got all these religions. He said he's going to do this because we ain't listen to him. All we had to do is listen to him one time, and then we be in our kingdom. But no, we want to be like the heathen, these other nations. So don't follow the way of the heathen. Learn not their way, but we going to learn their way, and then it's embedded in us from being with the Egyptians, the Assyrians, in captivity, mind you, the Babylonians, Persian and Medes, the Arabs had us, Ishmael, Hamites, Elam, Japheth people had us. You name it, all the people that live on this earth pretty much was looking at us in captivity under these other nations and enjoying the fact that we the chosen people of the Most High in captivity because the Most High wasn't dealing with us. So he just said, I'm going to hide my face from you. That's way back in Deuteronomy. In Hosea 5:15, he said, I'm going to go to my place until we as the Israelites acknowledge our offense, how we offended him, and seek his face. He just said he hid his face from us. So in our affliction, we're going to seek him early. And some going to seek him that don't fear the Most High. He said, I'm going to mock and laugh at you when your calamity, your destruction, your desolation comes. But people want to hear, you want to hear some good news, and you ain't gonna do what he say do. Ain't no good news for you. Those that's doing what he say do, hey, we might have an opportunity. I don't know. I'm not putting myself in that. Let's continue to read. And having in a readiness, verse 6, to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Do you look on things after the outer appearance? You're going to look at somebody on the outer appearance? Like you're going to look at somebody and say, oh, they this and they that, whatever. No. If any man trusted to himself that he is Mashiachim, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Mashiachim, you think you all that. You Mashiachim, you rolling with a Mashiach. Even so, we Mashiachim. He's talking to the Corinthians about those that was raised with a Mashiach Yahushua in Jerusalem and so forth, the places where we at in Galilee and so forth. That's why he say we, including himself with them. Like we gotta say we. That works. I remember teaching on Skid Row, it was we. They take our money and leave us with $10. And we in these shelters, God being here all these days. And take all our money. We got to go through this. We going through this. Not point the finger at them like because they homeless, they just that and the third. No. Because every last one of us ain't that far from being right there with them. I'm talking about all you high-minded people thinking you so prideful and think you ain't supposed to be dealing with. People saying, I hear people telling me, people saying that you ain't supposed to be feeding the homeless, the poor. Man. Myself, Shai, we said when you fed them, we say, you done it to me. You gave them some clothes, you done it to me. You helped them, you done it to me. Come on. To the kingdom of heaven that's prepared for you. But those that don't and look down on it, tell you what, look at that lesson I did on Hebrew Israelite versus Jehovah's Witness. And you see I just went through those nations in Psalms 83rd chapter, and you listen. I say, who is this? And you hear the people without a Bible that remembered who these nations are. I bet you're going to the street. Y'all on the street, go on the street. All you that street teacher that ask the people that you teaching to name those nations. See if they can. Better understand, the Spirit of the Most High is powerful. Like you say, we Mashiachim, they Mashiachim too. Look at verse 12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number. I say it all the time. Here it is in your face. For we dare not make ourselves of the number. When I get to the kingdom, this is what I'm going to do. For we dare not make ourselves of the number. Most High will. If he have mercy and grace upon us and see us worthy to make it to the kingdom, we'll be there. But it says, for we dare not make ourselves of the number. That's why I asked you, what number are you of the 144,000? What gate are you going through? Of your number of the 144,000. 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel. What gate are you going through? What number are you of the 1/3 of the 12 tribes of Israel? If thou could say. For he said, for we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves. Measure themselves by themselves. Oh, I'm righteous. I'm keeping the laws of the Most High. Ain't nobody talking about fearing the Most High, being afraid of the Most High, being scared of the Most High, but repent and keep the laws of the Most High only? No. There's a lot more we got to deal with, y'all. But we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. I'm all this, I'm all that. A lot of our people, that's why I say knowledge puffers up. But they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves among themselves are not wise. Looking at themselves for what it is they know. Close the book. You still got to deal with this wicked world. The evil in this world. How to make it. How to survive. How to deal with the Most High blessing you so that you can be part of that number. But dare not make yourself one of the number. And that's really something, because nobody's answered. But I hear people teaching, when I get to the kingdom, this is what I'm going to do to you, this blah, 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 blah. That's making yourself one of the number. Most High will. If you make it. If we make it. If you measure yourself by yourself. Compare themselves among themselves are not wise. See, that's why we got to really take heed to how we operate, because a lot of times you operate the wrong spirit. You put yourself above the Most High. His name is jealous, y'all. His name is jealous. Now, look at Luke, the 1st chapter. This is being, a lot of y'all say, I'm saved. But are you really saved? Saved comes from the word salvation. Power from the authority. And this is how we got to be saved. In Luke, the 1st chapter. That's why I say, dare not make that one of the number. Because this ain't happened to you yet. Which one are you going to say that happened to you already? As you hear what's being saved. Luke 1:68. How y'all saved? Y'all talk about y'all ain't even under the law of the Most High. It's rules and regulations. Come on now. Think about that. That's why you partial to the law. Luke 1:68. Blessed be the Most High power of Israel. Hear that? Blessed be the Most High power of Israel. For he have visited and redeemed his people. Here's a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership. And have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. You hear that? And have raised up a horn, which is power. Like a bull's horn, like the ram's horn of salvation. That's power and authority. For us, the 12 tribes of Israel, in the house of his servant David, who came out of the tribe of Judah. Talk about a Mashak Shah. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, where they at? In the Old Testament. which have been since the world began, that we, the Israelites, should be saved from our enemies. You hear that? This is salvation, that we're going to be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. That's being saved. That's the salvation he's talking about. See? Verse 69, and have raised up an horn of power of salvation. Power, rulership, and authority for us. Who is the us? We the 12 tribes of Israel in the house of his servant David, who I tell you in Hebrews 7:14. For it's evident, it's a fact that our power of Mashiach Yahushua sprang out of Judah. Our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, fourth-born son. David came out of Judah. Mashiach Yahushua came out of the tribe of Judah. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, who had the spirit of a Mashiach, which have been since the world began. That we should be saved, just saved, y'all, from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. That's being saved. I love it. 1 Corinthians 15:24. 1 Corinthians 15:24. Then cometh the end. Then cometh the end. The end of what? This world that we in now. And when you look at go to let's go to my man Ezra. Now let's look at 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter in the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. We're going to start at the 7th verse. Because say, then come at the end, right? So let's go to my big brother Ezra, see what he said through the Spirit of the Most High. In 2nd Ezra 6 and 7, he said, then answered I and said, what shall be the part and the son of the times? Then come at the end of this world that we in now. He said, what's going to be the part and the son of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, this is the world we living in now, and the beginning of it that followeth. The beginning of the world that's going to follow after this world that we in now. This is what he said. And he said it to me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born. Going all the way back to Genesis 25 and 25, the first books of the Bible. Genesis 25 and 25 and Genesis 25 and 26. That's when Jacob and Esau were born. Of him, of Isaac. Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, because they were wrestling in the womb. And the Most High told Rebekah, our foremother, that 2 nations are in thy womb. Twins are in her wombs. And 2 different manners of people shall be separated from her bowels. For Esau, who represents the aboriginal or indigenous so-called white man, or white Caucasian race, so-called Caucasian race, for Esau is the end of the world. Meaning Esau has to be in the end of the world, ruling the superpower of the earth at the end of the world. Esau is the end of the world. And Jacob, who was the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, whose name was changed to Israel, and we became the Israelites. Hebrew is our name, when we say Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew is our language, and Israelite is our nation. 12 tribes of Israel. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that follower. So now when we go back to 1 Corinthians 15 and 24, it says, 15 and 24, it says, then cometh the end. Esau is the end of the world, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High. Mashiach Shai going to deliver up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power, right? That's why, look, Revelation 19:11. Revelation 19:11. We read verse 15 earlier. Let's go up from there. Revelation 19:11 says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, this pure righteous power, and he that sat upon it was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness. That's according to the laws of the Most High. Righteousness, you learn righteousness in Deuteronomy 6:25. He does judge and make war. That's what it's talking about. You see? His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns. Power and authority been given to him. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture, his clothes, his garments dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. No different than we read John 1st chapter. In the beginning was the Word was with the Most High, the Word was the Mashiach Yahushua. The same was in the beginning with the Most High. As the Spirit of the Most High, the angel of the Most High. Who you read in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Verse 2 is the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the waters. That's the Mashiach Yahushua. Starting to create what the Most High is directing him to create. Point blank. As it is written. So it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. You want to know whose blood is on his vesture? You read Isaiah the 63rd chapter, 1 down. And the armies, that's the angels which were in heaven, followed him upon white horses. Clothes that ain't no butt-naked angels, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Coming to do the work of the Most High. Listen, out of his mouth go up a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, kill the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. That's the law of the Most High. And he treaded the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Most High. So let's look at it. 2 Ezra 13. And that's why I say you Protestants, you took the Apocrypha out of the Bible, but show me how it don't coincide just what we read. Let's go to 2 Ezra 13. You can read the whole thing, but all the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force of all the nations will get together. That's why they got a space station up there, and that's why they all together when it comes down to them preparing to fight this UFOs, this Mashiach Bashai as he come back to judge and make war. This is going to happen with him. 2 Ezra 13:9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude, the army, the navy, the marines, and the air forces of all these nations that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, and it had been a blast of fire. And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together. What was mixed together? The blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude. That's the army, the navy, the marines, and air force of all these nations. Fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up. Every one. He ain't saving none of them. And burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden renewable multitude nothing was to be received, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So I look at Isaiah 34 and verse 2. Isaiah 34 and 2. You know, when you read in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, you read Edom. It says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scripture as a scene of great future judgments. He's the only neighbor of the Israelites that's not given any promise of mercy and gives scriptures to back it up. They give Isaiah 34, 5 and 6, and they give Isaiah 63, 1 down. Look at it for yourself. Isaiah 34 and 2. For the indignation of the Most High is upon all nations, and his fury upon their armies. I'm going to read it again. For the indignation of the Most High. Wow, Mashiach Yahushua got to cleave in here because he coming to judge and make war under the power of the Most High is upon all nations, and his fury upon their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. We just read about it. The future. He have delivered them to the slaughter. Jump to verse 8. For it is the day of the Most High's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion, the 12 tribes of Israel. Don't get it twisted. You hear what he's saying. Now, let's go back to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and let's read verse 37. And this my son, this is in the Old Testament, the only begotten son of Mashiach Yahushua, and this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventors of those nations. Remember it said, then cometh the end. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob's the beginning that follow it. So the end is coming. There it is. And this my son, 2nd Ezra 13 and 37, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. That's being burnt up. Remember, he say he's going to melt you? Fallen into the tempest. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts. Now, y'all saying we ain't under the law. He going to lay before them their evil thoughts. And the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. This is before they be tormented.